What happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone, but I'm glad it did. One day I was just Olivia Carter, the quiet girl who faded between the walls of Maple Ridge School. The next, I was the punchline of Principal Eleanor Pierce's twisted joke. "Olivia, why don't you play the violin for us? It suits your heritage," she chuckled, her laughter echoing in the auditorium as it sliced through my dignity. Conserve was, I had avoided the spotlight all my life, overshadowed by the whispers of a school that didn't understand me or my culture. As the only black student in my final year, I felt the weight of a legacy I hadn't even begun to grasp. It was just a joke to them, but for me, it ignited a fire. I felt humiliation morph into resolve under the piercing gaze of my classmates. That night, I called my grandma, a former violinist who had faced her own battles. "Find your voice," she urged, her words wrapping around me like a warm hug. We began to prepare. As she shared stories of our ancestors, I discovered the depth of my roots. When she unveiled her Stradivarius, a miracle of wood and strings, my heart raced. This was more than music, it was rebellion. As the concert approached, I practiced not just notes, but the language of resistance. On stage, I stood with my grandma by my side, ready to turn humiliation into a symphony of defiance. The moment I began to play, the whispers hushed, replaced by gasps of awe. What started as a mandolin of mockery became a crescendo of change. I wasn't a joke anymore, I was a legacy. "Olivia, how about you play the violin for us?" Principal Pierce's voice cut through the auditorium like a knife. Laughter erupted, echoing off the walls as Olivia's face went beet red. I don't play the violin, ma'am," she stammered, feeling all eyes on her. Come on. You're the only one who fits the stereotype. Why not give it a go? We need some entertainment." And the principal smirked, leaning against the podium as if she just told a particularly clever joke. The laughter grew and Olivia felt small, a shadow in a room full of glaring lights. She glanced toward Professor Moore, who looked torn between sympathy and helplessness. "Olivia, it's okay, just ignore." "Okay," Olivia snapped, her voice cracking. "This is just a joke to you." Principal's eyes narrowed. "I expect my students to rise to the occasion. Master that violin in 1 week, or there will be consequences to your grades." The challenge hung heavy in the air, her tone dripping with condescension. Whispers surrounded Olivia. "Violin? Seriously? What a joke." Each word felt like weights anchoring her down. Heart racing, she fled the auditorium, tears stinging her eyes. As she sank against the wall, she pulled out her phone and called her grandmother. "I can't believe she said that. I'm not a joke. I can't." "Penchant to me, Olivia." Her grandmother's voice was calm, strong. "You are not what they say. We have a legacy. Let them see you." Inspired, Olivia took a deep breath, feeling the flicker of determination ignite. She had a battle to win. Undermined, Principal Eleanor Pierce called Olivia Carter the violin girl in front of the entire school. A hush fell over the auditorium. Olivia smiled weakly, forcing herself to believe it was just a joke. Yet as the laughter echoed around her, a knot twisted in her stomach. Humiliation burned, but beneath it, anger simmered. This wasn't the first instance. It was merely the latest in a series of microaggressions that had chipped away at her since she set foot in Maple Ridge High. In the hallways felt heavier, a pressure cooker of insidious jokes and dismissive glances. "You should play something real, Olivia," classmates snickered, their whispers slicing through her resolve. But the last straw came when Principal Pierce demanded she learn the violin, a burden wrapped in mockery, within a week. Olivia's heart raced as she gripped her phone, dialing her grandmother with trembling fingers. "You can turn their chaos into strength," her grandmother said, voice steady like a metronome. It was the spark Olivia needed. As her grandmother unveiled the rare Stradivarius, a family heirloom filled with stories, Olivia felt the weight of her legacy thunder in her chest. Their conversations transformed the absurdity of the assignment into something precious. Yet amidst the lessons, tension thickened. Principal Pierce's threats loomed above her, shrouded in the heaviness of systemic prejudice. Olivia would not be just a joke. As she practiced late into the night, the music morphed from simple notes into a defiant anthem, echoing generations of resilience. When she stepped onto that stage, the crowd would feel the shift. Something transformative lurked on the brink of revelation. Olivia stood backstage, the weight of the school violin heavy in her hands. Principal Pierce's snide remark echoed in her mind, but now it fueled something fierce within her. "You think I'll just give this up?" she whispered to herself, her reflection catching the determination in her eyes. "Practice makes perfect, darling," her grandmother had said, her voice weaving through Olivia's thoughts. Not just notes, but a story. With each bow stroke against the strings, Olivia felt layers of fear peel away. She remembered the laughter, the whispers. They tried to silence her, but she was reclaiming her narrative. "You're not just playing the violin," her grandma urged during one late-night lesson. "You're standing up. Every note you play, you tell them who you are." Olivia's hands trembled with a new resolve as she spoke to her reflection one last time. "I can't let her win." As she stepped into the spotlight, the crowd quieted. Heart racing, she took a deep breath and faced Principal Pierce, who sat at the front, anticipation painted on her disdainful features. The first notes resonated, rich and soulful, cascading through the auditorium. Olivia didn't just play, she poured her spirit into the performance, transforming her pain into art. "Remember this," she thought, locking eyes with her classmates. "This is where I take my power back." Whispers of surprise spread throughout the audience, fracturing the tension that had long hung over her. Olivia smiled, the warmth of support igniting courage within her. Each note was a testament to her journey, each bow stroke a small victory against the shadow of prejudice. Prohibited Bay buzzed with anticipation as Olivia stepped onto the stage, her grandmother's prized Stradivarius cradled in her arms. Principal Pierce sat in the front row, a forced smile plastered across her face, clearly expecting another embarrassing moment to add to her collection. But this was not about her anymore. With a deep breath, Olivia closed her eyes. The notes surged through her fingertips, bursting forth like a river breaking free from its dam. She began with a traditional melody, a nod to her grandmother's legacy. But as she played, the notes began to intertwine with rhythms of her own creation. Jazz staccatos, soulful riffs, each one a defiant declaration against the principal's mockery. The audience shifted, their initial confusion transforming into awe. Olivia felt their energy. It fused with her own, fueling her crescendo. Every note she played was imbued with the weight of her journey, the laughter of classmates, the cold silence of rejection. In that moment, she transformed her pain into an anthem of resilience. Take Principal Pierce's expression soured as Olivia's improvisation draped the room with a rich tapestry of emotions that felt both rich and raw. The laughter that once echoed during the principal's joke faded, replaced by stunned silence punctuated only by soft gasps of admiration. When the final triumphant note rang out, the auditorium erupted into applause. Faces once turned upon her with scorn now beamed with recognition, acceptance, and support. Olivia spotted her grandmother beaming proudly in the back, her own tears of joy mirrored by many others. The sound was a collective clap of vindication, resonating off the walls as though the very foundation of the school had shifted. As Olivia lowered the violin, the truth of Principal Pierce's prejudice became undeniably clear. The mockery she wielded now came crashing down in her own public exposure. A silent triumph washed over Olivia as she stood in the spotlight, not as a victim, but as a herald of change, powerful and unbroken. As I stand here today, I can't help but reflect on the journey I took to this moment. What began as a cruel joke from Principal Pierce turned into an unexpected awakening. Facing humiliation, I felt lost, yet a spark ignited my determination. With my grandmother's guidance, I transformed pain into a powerful performance that resonated with everyone present. In that packed auditorium, I found my voice, not just for myself, but for all those who faced injustice. The laughter that once echoed turned into applause, and in that instant, I understood the true meaning of resilience and the importance of standing tall against the tides of prejudice. Now, I ponder the question that lingered ever since that day. Do you think I went too far? What would you have done in my shoes? Have you ever had someone treat you like that? I invite you to share your own stories, your thoughts on right versus wrong, and the complexities of power and justice. Let your voice be heard. Together, let's foster a narrative that embraces our diverse experiences.